Is UNIFIL an impartial United Nations peacekeeping body or complicit in Hezbollah and Iran's war against Israel? Let's begin with what is UNIFIL and its actual role. UNIFIL is a UN peacekeeping force deployed in Lebanon since 1978. After the 2006 war between Hezbollah and Israel, the UN Security Council passed Resolution 1701, which defined two main tasks for UNIFIL. Number one, to help the Lebanese army, the LAF, establish authority in southern Lebanon, from the Blue Line, the border with Israel, to the Litani River, 20 kilometres north. And number two, to ensure there will be no weapons without the consent of the government of Lebanon, and no authority other than that of the government of Lebanon in southern Lebanon. As such, more than 10,000 UNIFIL soldiers from 48 countries with an annual budget of over US $500 million are deployed across southern Lebanon, with the aim of monitoring militia and military developments and movements. But the reality of UNIFIL is different from what it's meant to be in principle. Put simply, one of UNIFIL's key responsibilities is to oversee and fully report all Hezbollah belligerent activity to the UN in order to prevent its military buildup in southern Lebanon. But since day one, Hezbollah violated the requirements, as set out in the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701 and agreed upon by the Lebanese government. Right under UNIFIL's noses, as UNIFIL itself has acknowledged, since 2006, Hezbollah were emboldened to deploy thousands of militants and station its elite fighters, the Radwan unit, disguised as regular citizens along the border, to conceal and stockpile countless rockets and missiles in civilian homes, and to dig underground attack tunnels and equip them fully to be used in preparation for the Conquer the Galilee plan, Hezbollah's very own version of October 7, which sought to infiltrate northern Israel and murder and kidnap as many Israelis as possible. And in the past month alone, Hezbollah launched 25 rockets from within the vicinity of UNIFIL outposts. UNIFIL has abjectly failed completely in fulfilling its most basic obligations, in limiting the power, presence, and actions of Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. It's been well documented that UNIFIL was ineffective in accurately reporting the number of Hezbollah incidents. And then when they did, they often trivialised the reality. In addition, Hezbollah successfully threatened and prevented UNIFIL patrol missions, intimidating them into submission and incompetence. Meanwhile, the LAF, which relies upon the support, aid and training from UNIFIL and the international community, also did nothing to curb Hezbollah, and in some cases were even complicit in aiding them. Further, the Lebanese government did not comply with the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1559, which holds them responsible for the disbandment and disarmament of all militias from Lebanon. As such, Hezbollah were left to go unchecked and able to further strengthen its terror grip while using UNIFIL as human shields, just like its fellow Iranian-backed terror group Hamas, which hides behind UN infrastructure in Gaza. And where's the UN in this? The UN have failed in every conceivable way. The UN knew enough to intervene and implement UN Security Council Resolution 1701. After all, the UN is meant to enforce international law, peace, and security. Instead, they did nothing, too busy issuing statements of strong concern against Israel. All the while, countless Lebanese civilians continue to suffer at the hands of Hezbollah, and the lives and security of Israelis, more than 68,000 of whom have been displaced for over a year, remain under threat. Until Israel acted a few weeks ago, Iran's terror proxy Hezbollah was the strongest actor in the weak state of Lebanon. It exploited and abused the weakness of the Lebanese state and of the incompetence of the UN force for its own evil terror agenda. And if Israel would not have intervened, Hezbollah was sure to have succeeded in carrying out its own October 7 massacre.